glories to Sri Srivrindavan. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharane Namaste Sunyavadi Prashyate Siddharane. Om Gyanatamidantasya Janantana Sadakaya Chakshusmaditantena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manavishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Putaramayam Tadani Satanayam Vansha Kaputruvyascha Kripasindu Prayascha Praditam Adhyo Vishnu. Who remembers anything from yesterday's class? So long ago, so many hours ago. Sarira Vijaya. Who remembers something from yesterday's? Yes.
Diplomacy of Kamsa.
What do you remember?
Is flowery words to October.
Flowery words, my dear. You are my friend. Please, you bring Krishna Balaram here so I can kill them. Yes. Yeah. Indra took shelter of Vishnu, just like insulting Vishnu. Thank you. Mataji's remember anything?
And question, what's remaining at the end? Why did actually Kamsa talk to Bhagavan in such a way?
Why did he tell him everything? Yeah, isn't that an intriguing question? Why did he use the messenger? He was the messenger, and he was going to, that messenger was being sent to bring, from Kamsa's point of view, his enemies, to Mathura, to have them killed. And he had such a well thought out plan simply to kill them. And why did he tell the messenger that he was going to have these boys killed? And he knew that the messenger was a member of the Yadu dynasty. He was related to Krishna and Balaram. Very interesting question. Well, anyone have an answer? Yes. Just variety. He acted foolishly just because he... What do you mean?
Maybe Krishna gets scared and run away.
But he doesn't want Krishna to get scared and run away.
Well, deeply he fears him.
Yes.
So he don't want to meet him too much.
No. He wanted to kill him very much. That wasn't my understanding anyway. Anyone else have an understanding of? Yeah. He wants to? He was so evil. Well, yes. He was so evil. Yes?
He was too proud that he confident that his plans are going to execute. So he wanted to reveal that, okay, somebody has to know how my plans are there.
But it would seem like he told the wrong person. because as soon as Akrura got there, he came to Vrindavan. And again, Akrura's journeying to Vrindavan was the ideal way to come to Vrindavan. But it was just with the thoughts of how to see Krishna, his beloved Lord. And then, immediately, practically speaking, Krishna asked Akrura very politely after greeting him, please tell me why you've come here, the mission that you've come here. And then he tells him, Akrura tells him that Kamsa has invited you to the Dana Yajna, and actually there's a section from the Harivamsa that's included where Kamsa tells Akrura exactly what to tell Krishna and Balaram to bring him to have him come. You know, come, I'll even read that to you. Monster Works. He says, you should speak to Nanda as follows. This to Nanda. And first of all, Akrura Kamsa says, you make sure Nanda comes also. And he has a very diplomatic reason that Nanda should come as well. Nanda should come because he fears that if Krishna and Balaram, if the mood is Krishna and Balaram should come alone, then Nanda Maharaj would never let them come. He wants to be there to protect Krishna and Balaram. And to make the story consistent, we're going to have a big Dana Yajna, and there's going to be a festival, and the huge bow of Lord Shiva is going to be there, and we're going to worship that bow. And also we'll have a wrestling match going on, and everyone likes these type of festivities. And bring yogurt and bring ghee. And he was consciously, he was telling Akrura to tell Nanda Maharaj that, so that it would make the festival and the Dana Yajna, where the yogurt and the ghee would be used for, it would make it seem that this is actually the purpose of them coming. So this is what the Harivamsa says. That Kamsa said to Akrura to tell Nanda, go quickly to Mathura and bring your yearly tax with all the cowherds. Kamsa, his servants and priests, desire to see the sons of Vasudeva, Krishna and Balaram. I've heard that the two boys are expert at fighting. Fighters who bring death in the arena, determined, and they are so perseverant. Perseverant means they never give up. They just keep on fighting. Our two wrestlers are prepared for this festival combat. Festival fight. And your two boys, expert at wrestling, they should compete with them. I must see these two boys who live in Braja, who wander in the forest, the sons of my father's sister, because I have heard they are like devatas, they are like demigods. You should tell the people of Braja that the rejoicing king will perform a sacrifice, a Dana Yajna for the bull. And the citizens should stay nearby, very comfortably. For the invited guests, there'll be unlimited milk and ghee and yogurt and buttermilk to be given freely so that they can cook as they like. Sounds like such a wonderful festival that everyone will want to attend. And Kamsa's hope, his desire, his deepest desire, is that somehow or another to bring Krishna and Balaram to Mathura and have them killed. So the reason is, and then what happens is, so Akrura does say things like this, and then he says, Krishna says to him, is there anything else that's going to happen? And Akrura immediately tells Krishna Kamsa's plans. He plans to have an elephant there, and the elephant is supposed to kill you. And then the two wrestlers, Chana and Mastika, are supposed to kill you. So the whole thing is planned to have you killed. And when Krishna and Balaram hear this from the mouth of Akrura, they just laugh. But why was it, again, why was it that Kamsa told this to Akrura? The best answer that I've heard was something that Srila Jiva Goswami said. and putting it together, this is what I concluded, is that Kamsa, of course, he was very proud, and he was certain of his diplomacy, and he was convinced that Akrura was his dear friend. He had confidence in Akrura, because most of the other Yadu dynasty members had fled from Mathura out of fear of Kamsa. But Akrura stayed loyally nearby and in a mood of servitude to Kamsa. So he trusted Akrura. But there was something else. Srila Jiva Goswami said that after Aristasura was killed, which means after Narada Muni spoke to Kamsa, Kamsa became inflamed in his anger at Vasudeva. And he criticized Vasudeva to all the Yadus. So his anger increased, and his fear of Krishna increased. And Srila Jiva Goswami said he was blind with fear. Now what does it mean when you say someone is blind with his fear or his anger? What does it mean to be blind? You can't see things as they are. You can't see things at all. So in the blindness of his inflamed anger, he was just speaking and speaking. Improperly, actually. It was very bad rajniti. It was very bad diplomacy to do this. You don't tell the messenger this. You have to keep the messenger as innocent as possible. Otherwise he won't be able to deliver his message properly to get your desired result. But in his anger, and also he trusted Akrura, in his anger, in his fear, he just was talking. And sometimes we see this. When we're angry enough, all the horrible things in our heart that we think in the lowest part of our heart, they come right out our mouth. Of course, not any of you. Your hearts are so clean. But sometimes these things happen. So that's the best answer that I've heard. There may be other answers, but I haven't heard any other. That was that. Just out of his great anger, he just was speaking, I plan to have him killed in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. Now, how does Akrura respond? Because we're still hearing about how, because Kamsa has called Akrura to enlist him in his plan, his plot, his scheme. So how does Akrura, and then remember, Kamsa told everything. Then I will kill, I will kill Vasudeva and imprison him. I will kill Vasudeva and Nanda, who are supporters of the Vishnu and Bodha dynasties. So one of the Acharyas comments, so why didn't, first he's going to kill Krishna, and then he's going to kill Vasudeva and Nanda. So the question is, why doesn't he want to kill the protectors of Krishna first? Then it will be easier for him to kill Krishna. Why doesn't he kill Vasudeva and Nanda first? So the answer given by the Acharyas is, he was so envious that he wanted to first kill Krishna so that Vasudeva and Nanda would be lamenting and crying in grief. And then in the midst of their grief and misery, he would kill them and he would get double the pleasure. Because not only did he kill them, but he would make them suffer. And they, yes, that's demon. The right word. Evil demon, Asura. In the core of his heart was enmity with Krishna. That is the definition of a demon. And by the way, of course, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there's only two kinds of living entities in this world, the divine and the demonic. And the divine are fully surrendered to Krishna. Krishna is everything to them. They're in line with Krishna's desires. And the demonic have enmity with Krishna. And how to put it politely, that our job in this life is to turn towards Krishna and give up our enmity to Krishna, our challenging mood. In other words, give up false ego. Because false ego puts us in this type of competition with Krishna. It has to be there as long as one has a false ego. One wants to place oneself in the center. This is what it means to have a false ego, a false sense of who we are. Our real self, who we really are, we are Krishnas. We are Krishna's what? Krishna, Nitya. Krishna Nityadas. This is who we are. And then we turn our back on that identity, our real identity, and adopt a false identity. And when we chant Krishna's names, and when we hear about Krishna, when we do our service, when we follow the process of Krishna consciousness, the purpose of that is to develop such an attraction to Krishna that we desire deeply, ultimately from the core of our heart, to serve Krishna. We don't want to take shelter of the material Maya Shakti anymore. We want to take shelter of Krishna. And then when we're in that mood, and the great devotees, they feel themselves very, very humble that I'm in the material energy, but their chanting is infused. How would you say infused in what does infused mean? It's not confused. Like filled with, yeah. Yeah, so the chanting is filled with the mood, as Prabhupada said, like a baby crying for mother. Krishna, please accept me. Please accept me as your servant. Please engage me in your service. I don't want to compete with you anymore. I don't want to consider myself the center of existence. I don't want to, I want to give up I want to serve you. Please, please allow me to serve you. When this becomes the sincere calling of the soul for Krishna, for Krishna's service, not only for Krishna, but really for Krishna's service, then the chanting really captures the ear of Krishna, just like the crying of a baby captures immediately the ear and the heart of the mother especially. So Krishna hears that and he says, oh, my devotee is calling for me so sincerely, and he can't resist. He comes immediately and gives the devotee what he wants. And this is such an interesting thing about Krishna consciousness, is that Krishna will give every living entity just what he wants, what he or she wants. So what do we want? So this is one could say the purpose of our life, and the purpose of our sadhana is to awaken and inflame the desire to serve Krishna, and let that be what we want. That's called this is called bhakti. And this process of bhakti that is clean or cleansed of all other desires, jnana, karma, anavrita, is the avideya tattva. It is the process that awards prema bhakti. The process of bhakti, when it is practiced with purity of motivation, the activities are for Krishna's pleasure. That is the process that awards prema bhakti. So how are we going to come to the platform of Anyabhidasita Sunyam? I mean, this is the question. How can I come to that platform? By hearing and chanting in the association of devotees, by being humble, the whole process. Serving, humbly serving, seeing how fortunate I am, and to be in Vrindavan is such a fortune. such a fortune? Why is to be in Vrindavan such a fortune? Why? Okay, but that 1,000 times benefit. What's the benefit? But in a practical way, what is the fortune? Why are we all here? What is the fortune that we find here? Association of devotees. Yes. I'm just saying. I do have one thing in mind, but
Everything is connected with Krishna.
everything in Vrindavan is connected with Krishna. Everyone walks around, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe. There's so much support here for one's Krishna consciousness. That's there. Anyone else? Yes?
We cannot forget Krishna even we want to forget him.
Difficult to forget Krishna. Thank you. Anything else?
Krishna performed his pastimes on this holy day.
Yes. But
So
what does it have to do with you?
As dust of his feet, when we found here, and it improves our bhakti.
You decorate the. If you're in another city, where are you from?
Bhopal.
From where? Bhopal. Madhya Pradesh. So, Bhopal, it rhymes with Gopal. So very nice. So when you think of Bhopal, you think of Gopal. Always. You're from Gopal. That's also true. But, well, anyway, at least if you're from New York City, if someone takes the dust from New York and throws it on you, you don't. But here in Vrindavan, people take the dust of Vrindavan and they put it on their heads sometimes. One time in Los Angeles, in 1969, Prabhupada was in Los Angeles, and one devotee we got a phone call from Los Angeles and said that someone had come to Los Angeles from Vrindavan. And none of us knew anything about anything at this time at all. And Srila Prabhupada was sitting on the Vyasasana, and this person handed Prabhupada a package of dust from Vrindavan. And Prabhupada took that and went. And all the devotees were amazed. Because dust means dirt, basically. So this is how the devotees honor the dust of Vrindavan. They can put it on their heads, rolled in the dust of Vrindavan. Why else do we like Vrindavan? What is it about Vrindavan? Because the weather is cold, there's plastic bags everywhere, everyone bothers you about this and that. There's sewage everywhere. Why is it that we're all here? What is it that brings you here? Huh? It has a sweetness. Krishna Balaram certainly. Anyway, what I was thinking is that it just has a sweetness in the atmosphere that no other place in existence has. Have you noticed that? There's no other place like that. It just has such a sweetness in the atmosphere. We've seen people come from, the ones I'm thinking of, from China. The devotees come, not devotees, but just yoga students who don't know anything about Krishna. I've seen them come to Vrindavan and part of a yoga tour, run by devotees, and they're doing yoga and this and that. And part of the yoga is to teach them to chant. And then just by chanting in Vrindavan, they get so touched by the sweetness of Vrindavan. It's such an experience. It's nothing like they ever experienced. Anyway, this has, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about in relationship to the story, but for this reason, because Vrindavan is so intimately connected with Krishna, Akrura took on this terrible job of messenger on behalf of Kamsa, because he wanted to go to Vrindavan. He wanted to see Krishna in Vrindavan. So, going back to this, Prabhupada taking the dust of Vrindavan, and none of the devotees at that time. I thought this was the most amazing thing. So after hearing this plan of Kamsa's, he heard the whole thing. Akrura replied, "My dear king, your plan is very excellently made to counteract the hindrances, to remove the obstacles that stand in the way of your diplomatic activities." So he compliments Kamsa. Your plan is very nicely made. So he is acting like a diplomat. Inside, he's thinking that I will bring Krishna, and your plan isn't going to become fulfilled, but my plan that Krishna will kill you is going to be fulfilled. But you should maintain equilibrium, for the results of your activities may be fruitful or may not be fruitful. After all, man proposes, God disposes. So he just was speaking anyway. We have to be a little detached. He spoke to him some moral type of instructions in this way, not wanting at all to reveal what was actually in his mind. We may make very great plans, but unless they are sanctioned by the supreme authorities, because he's saying that which way Kamsa's fate is moving. His fate, Kamsa's fate, is moving towards his own death. And Kamsa is doing all these things to counteract his fate. And one can't actually counteract one's fate. After all, Akrura says, man proposes, God disposes. So one of the acharyas, I think it was Srila Goswami, comments that a person who is detached in this world from success and failure, he is the one who is happy, not the person who is always making plans to change his fate, which you are doing, and therefore you cannot be happy. We may make very great plans, Akrura says, but unless they are sanctioned by the supreme authority, they will fail. Everyone in this material world knows that the supernatural power is the ultimate disposer of everything. One may make a very great plan with his fertile brain, but he must know he will become subject to the fruit's miseries and happiness. But I have nothing to say against your proposal, because you are the king and I am your loyal servant. To fulfill your desire, I will go to Vrindavan and bring back Krishna and Balaram. As a friend, I shall carry out your order and bring Krishna and Balaram here as you desire. So he spoke in one way to Kamsa, but inside he was thinking quite differently. So after instructing his friends in various ways, Kamsa retired. He went back to his palace, and Akrura went back to his home. So thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 36th chapter of Krishna, which is entitled, Kamsa Sends Akrura for Krishna. So what's the first thing that happened in this chapter? Who remembers? Yeah, everyone's absorbed. But even in Vrindavan, demons come. And what was the demon that came? Aristasura. Now, we had heard that Srila Jiva Goswami had commented that first Kamsa had called for both Aristasura and also Keshi, who were the two most powerful demons and who were friends, and Kamsa was saving them. He was thinking that have improperly sent Putana to kill the children. But I did not realize how powerful Krishna was. So that was a mistake. So now I will send the most powerful of the demons, Aristasura and Keshi. So Aristasura went and was killed by Krishna. And then Srila Jiva Goswami said, for 1 year, Kamsa was so depressed that he didn't send another demon to kill, to try to make an attempt to kill anyone. And before that even, Keshi had come and chastised Kamsa. And he said, why are you unnecessarily making enemies? And Kamsa just sent him home. But now, after Narada Muni had come, he calls for Keshi and sends him to Vrindavan. And Keshi goes. So after being, this is the beginning of chapter 37, after being instructed by Kamsa, the demon Keshi assumed the form of a terrible horse, of course. He entered the area of Vrindavan with the speed of the mind. Now this was one of the special characteristics of Keshi. He was amazingly fast and powerful in his running. He entered with the speed of the mind. His great mane, the hairs on the back of the horse's back, was flying, and his hoofs were digging up the earth. He began to whinny and terrify the whole forest. And Krishna saw that the demon was terrifying all the residents of Vrindavan with his whinnying and his tail wheeling in the sky like a big cloud. Krishna could understand that the horse was challenging him to fight. So some of our acharyas explain things in a little more detail. Srila Jiva Goswami said that the cows were so terrified by this whinnying and stomping of Keshi, that although they were in the cow sheds, and though the cow sheds were locked up for the night with boards and great bolts, and it was very, very heavy protection that was there, still out of fear, they burst out and ran out. And when the cows started running away, the cowherd men, even Nanda Maharaj, seeing the horse in the distance, in a hesitating way, but definitely, they went out to challenge the horse. And then at that point, Krishna ran fast and immediately went in front of them. And at that point, Mother Yashoda started calling out to Krishna, Krishna, where are you going? Why are you running forward like this? Even though she had seen him kill so many demons and just recently had killed that Aristasura, she in her motherly sentiment could not tolerate this situation with her delicate son who was so beautiful and soft and so young, challenging this huge, ferocious horse who was whinnying and terrified and rearing up on his hind legs and stomping the earth. And she said, Krishna, why are you running forward? Krishna said, there's a horse without a rider. Of course I'm going over there. And then she said, Nanda Maharaj, since I was born, what to speak of since our marriage, I have never spoken a challenging, harsh word to you. But now, I'm begging you, why not, you should grab this boy and all his friends and pull him back and lock them in their houses to protect them. In her motherly affection, she was frightened for Krishna's welfare. She was not frightened for her own welfare, she was frightened for Krishna's welfare. And then Krishna did something he just looked at her and smiled very confidently. And all her fears and anxiety went away. And then Krishna stood before the horse. He accepted his challenge and stood before the Kesha demon, and he called him to fight. Srila Jiva Goswami said when Krishna challenged him in this way, the horse first ran away because he could run at the speed of the mind. He ran as fast as he could, far away, and then ran fast as he could back, just to show his great strength and power. And then he began rearing up on his hind legs and bringing his hoofs down, trying to crush Krishna with his hoofs. So the horse ran towards Krishna, making a horrible sound, like the roaring of a lion, like the roaring of 1,000 lions. His jaws spread wide open, as if he could swallow the whole sky. Keshi rushed forward towards the Lord with great speed, and going up in his hind legs, he tried to trample him with his legs, which were strong. They were forceful. They were as hard as stone. Krishna, however, immediately caught hold of his legs and baffled him. He confused him. And then, being somewhat angry, Krishna began to whirl the horse around. And after a few rounds whirling him around, he contemptuously means without any respect at all for the horse's power, he threw him 100 yards away. One football field. Just as Garuda throws a big snake. So the horse didn't expect this. He was the most powerful of Kamsa's demon friends. And he passed out. He went unconscious when he landed. But after a little while he regained consciousness. And with great anger and with great force, he again rushed towards Krishna with his mouth open. He ran towards Krishna with his mouth open because his teeth were huge and they were strong. And he ran towards Krishna with his mouth open. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur said, Krishna went like this. Your mouth is open? It looks like you want to eat something. Well, eat this. And he took his left hand and stuck it in his mouth. That's what Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur said. Your mouth is open, you want to eat something? Well, eat this. Krishna's amazing. And then, when Krishna inserted his left fist in the horse's huge mouth, it was like a snake entering a snake hole. Krishna's arm was like a powerful snake. And then it began to expand. The horse, it was just like a big snake and entered a hole in the field. The horse felt great pain because the arm of Krishna felt him like a hot iron rod. Immediately, his teeth fell out at the root. Don't challenge Krishna. And that's what we all do in the material world. Unfortunately, we want to be competitive to Krishna. And when we're old, our teeth also fall out. Krishna's arm within the mouth of the horse at once began to expand, and Keshi's throat choked up. As the great horse suffocated, he couldn't breathe. Perspiration appeared on his body, and his life air and his senses burst through his body. And he threw his legs hither and thither. He went onto his back and was kicking his legs. And he became old quickly and died quickly. As his last breath came, his eyeballs bulged in their sockets, and he passed stool and urine simultaneously. And thus the vital force of his life expired. And the Acharyas describe, or the verse actually described, that his body split in two due to the expanding force of Krishna's arm. His body split in two, and one side was it's always a happy ending. One side was one leg, but just broken two, like an expanding, like sometimes there's particular types of fruits that when in certain circumstances they explode. What kind of fruits do that? Watermelons or something? Yeah, they explode in certain circumstances. So his body exploded like that. And then, when the horse was dead, his mouth became loose, and Krishna could extract his hands without difficulty. He did not feel any surprise that the Keshi demon was killed so easily. But the demigods in the sky were amazed, and out of their great appreciation, they offered Krishna greetings by showering flowers. Now, amidst this wonderful scene, without the least display of pride at having so effortlessly killed the enemy, the Lord accepted the demigod's worship in the form of flowers rained down from above. And then, right after that, the next incident is Narada Muni will visit Krishna in Vrindavan. And he has that very sad for the Brijbasi task to speak to Krishna about the fact that his Vrindavan Leela is now over, and it was time for Krishna to leave Vrindavan and go to Mathura. Krishna lived in Vrindavan how many years? 11 years. How many years did he live in Dwarka? More than 100. And how many years did he live in Mathura? I'll give you a hint. Jarasandha attacked Mathura how many times? 18. And he attacked once a year. That's the hint. So 11, 18, and a little more than, 11 and 18 is how many?
29.
29, and Krishna lived on this earth for 125 years.
96 years.
96. Dwarka.
Okay. So on Monday, Krishna willing, we shall continue. And we hope that to see you then. Hare Krishna. Srila Bhagavatam ki jai, Krishna ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.